Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to the podcast. All right, y'all, let's get into it. I am really excited about today's episode. We are going to be talking about feminist weight loss. And what does that mean? Why is it important? What does that look like? Why does this even matter? We're going to be talking about all of that, and I'm going to unpack it. We're going to connect all the dots, everything there is to know. But before I get into it, if this podcast has been a support for you, if it has helped to empower, to create freedom and joy in this area of your life, I want to invite you, please go and leave us a 5-star review and or share this episode or another of your favorite episodes on your socials, because let's help women around the world reclaim their power in this area of our lives, to stop struggling with our bodies, battling with weight and food. Because as you know, this is about so much more than weight. This is about so much more than food. This is about liberation. So please help me spread the word and the freedom. Like I said, go and leave us a 5-star review and or share it on your socials. Either one will be incredibly helpful and it'll mean the world to me. So without further ado, let's get started. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about feminist weight loss. And so right from the get-go, when you come to this podcast, when you come and join me and listen to one of our episodes, know always that this is not about fixing, quote unquote, women. This is about freeing women. So we're starting right off the bat with a mic drop moment. Most of the time in the weight loss world, when there is a goal of losing weight, it is very much approached through this lens of like fixing, as if a thing is flawed, a body is flawed and it needs to be fixed. It needs to be quote unquote improved. So know that when we are talking about feminist weight loss, and always in any of my episodes, anytime that the lens that I am looking at this through, and that now in this episode, I'm going to unpack it so that you can also look at it through this lens for yourself, is that this is not about fixing women. This is about freeing women from the weight struggle. Okay, so we're just going to start off very, very clear. This is not about fixing women. This is about freeing women. But yes, weight loss can be a part of that. And so this isn't just a podcast episode that you're going to listen to. It's a podcast episode. Of course it is, right? You're listening to me. It is a podcast episode and there is audio and you are listening. But I want to invite you beyond that. If you take what you listen to and you really switch your lens in the way that I am going to be talking about today, that will completely change your experience. So today we're talking about feminist weight loss, what it means, what it looks like, and why it changes everything. This matters more than ever. I know that so many women, I talk to women every single day. I've been doing this work for almost 10 years now. So this specific work, I've dedicated my career to this for the last 10 years, going on 10 years very soon. And I know, because I hear it, I talk to smart women every day, that women care about doing things in a way that actually makes the world a better place for us, that actually shifts and changes the world for us as women, so that we're not replicating so much of the, for example, the harms of diet culture that we have experienced in our lives. I can remember this for myself, even when I was in the middle of really, really, really struggling with sabotaging, overeating, emotional eating, just battling with my weight and all the inner dialogue of that. And I didn't have a daughter at that time. Now I do. I have a 6-year-old daughter. But I remember even then thinking to myself, oh my gosh, I am literally emotionally suffering so much about this. And I do want to lose weight. And I did have a goal, because I also knew that the way that I was taking care of myself wasn't the healthy version of how I wanted to take care of myself. I had awareness that a lot of what I was doing was sabotaging and was emotionally eating, because I didn't have other healthier ways for me that felt healthier for me to address some of my needs at that time. And so I had a goal. I wanted to change some of my habits and behaviors. And so I did want to change those things. And I knew that I would lose weight as a result, but I didn't want to do it in a way that I wouldn't want a role model to my daughter. because I didn't want like my inheritance, part of my inheritance for my daughter, my future daughter. I just had this feeling that I would be a mom and that I would have a daughter, which now I do, right? So many years later. I didn't want part of my inheritance, part of what I role modeled to her, this relationship with food and with my body that didn't feel good, that didn't feel loving. I knew I wanted something better for her. And that was actually a big motivator for being so determined to find something better for me. And by the way, I want to make this important note. I don't think that the only reason to do things for ourselves is so that they benefit other people, but I'm just sharing a very part of my motivation. And part of my big reasons was, yes, I want to change this for me. And also I want to teach something different to my daughter. I want to be able to create a change for the next generation of women, because this sucks. This is not loving, is not helpful. So it was a big motivator. And I know that it is on the minds of so many women in our generation. And so let's talk about it. How can we do this different? How can we do this in a way that allows healing for you and for this area of your life to be loving and supportive and really centered around your needs and desires and goals and all of that? What is the different way? Let's unpack it, because I believe it's what we've always deserved. And so it's really important for me. I am thrilled. I am literally thrilled to be putting out this episode to unpack this in a very concise way, to get this in the hands of millions and millions of women, all the women who may need this and benefit from it, because we want to take care of ourselves and have goals and aspire for whatever feels good and right for you. But we also care about the next generation. We also care about those that are coming right behind us, that we're not, again, like I said, replicating the things that have been so harmful, such as diet culture, which so many of us have already experienced the harm of that, the stuckness it creates, the self-sabotage, the constantly feeling not enough. It's not what we want to inherit. And so then how do you have a personal goal that you say, hey, I actually don't, what I'm doing right now doesn't feel good. Here's the goal that I have. I want to change things. I want to change the way I take care of myself. I want to change the way that I eat, the way that I'm feeding my body. Hey, I want to lose 20 pounds. Hey, I want to lose 40 pounds, 8 pounds, whatever it may be. How do we have a goal while doing it in a way that is actually healing for us and the next generation? And so this conversation matters more than ever, because I know that so many women are looking for this, because now we know we deserve better. Okay, so let's unpack what feminist weight loss means. We're going to unpack it. We're going to unpack these different elements of it and, of course, put it all together. Feminist weight loss means refusing to shrink yourself in order to be accepted. Like, hey, I'm setting this goal to lose, I'm just going to use as an example, 10 pounds, but you could insert literally any number there. I'm going to lose 10 pounds and I'm going to do that in order to be quote unquote good enough, in order to be quote unquote acceptable, in order to quote unquote fix my body. Feminist weight loss means refusing that as the purpose for yourself. Like, hey, that's not the reason I'm doing this. And when we change the reason, when we change the purpose, that in of itself changes the experience. It means, feminist weight loss means that weight loss is no longer about quote unquote pleasing or quote unquote being accepted or quote unquote being good enough. It's about being powerful. And I'll explain more what that means. So I'm going to drop in a little bit of history, because yes, we are going to talk about feminism. What does that even really mean in this context? For centuries, patriarchy has taught women that our value comes from certain things. Like there's certain things we either do or don't do or are or aren't that determine our value. One of those things being small, not only small in body, but small in voice, small in presence. Like, hey, not be too much, not really bother anyone, don't like create a scene, not really like inconveniencing, creating an inconvenience or making a spectacle of things. That's part of what we have learned as women in a patriarchal culture. And so diet culture, listen up here, because this is going to be one of the most important lines that I drop in this entire episode. Diet culture is one of patriarchy's most effective tools in keeping women at bay, essentially, and keeping patriarchy in power. Diet culture is one of patriarchy's most effective tools. It keeps women obsessed with their bodies instead of owning their power. And by the way, I want to make this very clear. In this episode, I am unpacking how can you have a goal and it not be something that takes away from your power, right? And you be powerful. We're going to unpack that, but that is in diet culture. This has been one of patriarchy's most effective tools. Because if we as women are constantly thinking about our weight and weighing a certain amount and what did I eat or what did I not eat, or oh my gosh, I ate this, I messed up. Imagine how much energy and power that takes away. In fact, I'll talk about myself. I will use my own example. I remember for a couple of decades, it really felt like my brain energy, my brain real estate was, oh gosh, I would say, and this is like taking a conservative guess, it really felt like 70% of my brain was just consumed with like, I need to lose this weight. I want to lose. Oh my gosh, I feel disgusting today. I messed up. What's wrong with me? Why can't I do this better? That felt like 70% of my brain was just looping on that track. And it has been so powerful. In fact, if you've been a listener of the podcast for a very long time, and if you've followed me on social media, you followed my journey and just my content for a very long time, you have been able to witness what I've been able to do when I have reclaimed all of that brain energy and brain real estate for everything else that is actually important to me. But it wasn't at the cost of my own personal goals. It was being able to approach my goal in a way that actually was powerful versus in a way that created obsession and kept me looping and sabotaging, et cetera, et cetera. It was being able to really create the transformation that I wanted to and the changes that I wanted to in this area of my life and still have those personal goals, but doing it in a way that I felt powerful. That's the lens that you're shifting today. And then that area of my life that had to do with weight and how I make decisions around food and how I take care of myself, how I take care of my body, that feels easeful and loving and nurturing. And all of that reclaimed brain real estate, all of that reclaimed energy and power, I have been able to, I can tell you just in the last 10 years to start a business, create my own intellectual property. Like I literally have IP, grow my company in a very powerful way, use my voice and thought leadership in a very powerful way. And I would even say in recent years, use my voice and my platforms for activism. And so it wasn't at the expense of like, oh, that's something stupid, I shouldn't care about it, because that's super shamey and judgy, right? It was completely shifting the lens away from the diet culture patriarchal lens of shrinking myself in order to be worthy, shifting that completely, which is what we're unpacking today, which is what I'm describing today is feminist weight loss. Okay, so this work reclaims all of that energy, all of that power, which you have because you are powerful. And so feminist weight loss is choosing your weight loss goal because you want it, not because you were told to. Ooh, can we get some sort of applause for that, right? That is so, so powerful. Choosing your weight loss goal because you want it, not because you were told to. Feminist weight loss looks like and means eating in a way that feels nourishing for you, that works for you versus being performative or some sort of demonstration of obedience, even when it doesn't feel right and good for you. And so feminist weight loss is saying, I think this is very important in a culture where there's so much judgment for women. It's like there's judgment and opinions about losing weight, but also not losing weight. Feminist weight loss is saying, I can love my body and still want to create change. And that is not anti-feminist. It makes me the authority over my own body. That is feminism. I'm going to say that last line one more time. It makes me the authority over my own body. And that is feminism. Okay, so let's keep connecting dots. Let's keep creating clarity here. What is feminist weight loss? Why does it matter? When women pursue weight loss through the lens of patriarchy, and we are going to unpack that even more, it's never enough. That is exhausting. When women pursue weight loss through the lens of patriarchy, it's never enough. And that is by design. That literally gives chills. That gives me chills that are running down my spine. That is by design. When weight loss is pursued through the lens of patriarchy, it's never enough. It's never joyful, and it's always conditional. So notice in your own weight loss approach, and this isn't about judging yourself, and it's not about blaming or shaming. It's about creating awareness. But notice in your own weight loss, if it feels never enough, like you're not quite ever there, or if there feels like there's a lot of conditions, everything's very conditional, like, oh, when I lose weight, then I'll do so and so. When I lose weight, then I'll feel this way or that way, confident or comfortable. Notice if it's feeling very conditional. Feminist weight loss ends the loop of self-punishment. Oh my gosh, that is so powerful. That is freaking priceless right there. I remember when this is what my weight loss efforts felt like. It really felt like this constant loop of self-criticism and failure and sabotage, self-criticism and failure, and then, emotional eating, of course, and self-sabotage. And again, and again, and again, just looping. It's exhausting and never enough. I think never enough and always conditional are absolutely such markers of when weight loss is being approached through a patriarchal lens. So feminist weight loss ends that loop. It ends that loop. Feminist weight loss creates autonomy. If something is feeling like you don't have choice, then that is not a feminist lens. Feminist weight loss heals internalized oppression. And internalized oppression, I'm just going to give you my very simple definition of that I think about it this way for myself, which just I think is simple but clear. Anything that I have learned where there's some sort of rule coming from an oppressor, in this case, that would be patriarchy, right? So that supports men staying in power. Anytime that I have learned some sort of rule or idea that has me be the upholder of that internally, that's internalized oppression. And dang, even just saying that out loud, that was so powerful. So for example, let's say the rule that was taught to me is, hey, you need to look like this and this, you need to act like this and this way. And if you're not, then that's not valuable. That was not a rule that I made up. And yet I make myself the upholder of it. And then I internalize that against myself. Like I almost become the one that polices it so that I don't step out of those behaviors or what's deemed as the way that I should act, should be, should or shouldn't be. So I'm going to keep this explanation to that. I think it's concise enough. And we will definitely I have an upcoming episode where I'm going to be talking about anti-racist weight loss and decolonized weight loss, and we'll touch on internalized oppression a little bit more. But that is how I think of it. Am I internally upholding? Have I become the upholder of these outside ideas that I didn't even make up for myself? Like I didn't even choose this for myself. So feminist weight loss heals internalized oppression. And feminist weight loss allows you as an individual to be both loving and ambitious, both nurturing and, hey, I have this important goal, and to be the one that decides what that looks like. And so the revolution here isn't in the losing weight part, although that this gets to be a part of it. Remember, your body, your choice. It's you being the authority of your own body. That is feminism. So weight loss is a part of this here, but that in and of itself isn't the revolution. The revolution here, what is completely revolutionary, and yes, you do want a revolution, because if you're here listening, you're like, Brenda, I'm sick of the old way. The old way feels like shit. It's not working. I've already given it a go for a couple of decades and it just ain't it. Then yes, it's time for a revolution, right? The old shit is not working, doesn't feel good. You already know that. The revolution is in finally understanding that your body is yours. The revolution is in finally understanding and claiming powerfully and integrating this truly into your life, that your body is yours and that you get to decide what this area of your life looks like. You're the one that gets to decide what you eat, what you don't eat, when you eat, for what reasons you eat. All of that is your choice. That is feminism. Remember, that is what feminist weight loss looks like. It's you being the authority of your own body and all the decisions involved in that. Now, if you've never thought too much about patriarchy or never learned about it formally, or if you're like, I'm not even really sure what that means, I'm going to take a minute here. I want you to know you're not alone. This was totally me. But understanding this and understanding how diet culture is rooted in patriarchy really helped me to be able to then, once I saw it and understood it, be able to step outside of it so that I can actually be done battling myself, be done battling my body, be done being at war with my body, and be done experiencing so much stuckness and emotional suffering and those sabotage cycles that really get fueled with all of this. So I promise you, even though it might seem irrelevant, like patriarchy, it is essential. So what I'm going to do right now is break it down real quick. Specifically, I'm going to break down patriarchy in a way that's really simple, but with tons of love and respect for your brilliance, because that is how we do things around here. So patriarchy is a system. It is the system built over generations. Generations, I think we could say not only even hundreds of years, but millennia. It's the system that centers men's experiences, their power, their desires as the default. So patriarchy doesn't center women, it has centered men, their experiences, their power, etc. It's a system that has been built and upheld over generations, that traditionally in our society, we've been conditioned and socialized and have been taught and told that our value as women was in being small, pleasing, agreeable. These are just some of the examples. That our value was in being caretakers for others, centering the needs of others, even at our own expense. This is just some of it, but you can see how it upholds all of this. And so patriarchy is the reason diet culture even exists. Diet culture teaches us, socializes us, conditions that our value is tied to our weight, is completely dependent on that. And so this is the reason why so many women, millions of women, why we have believed that shrinking our bodies will earn love, approval, success, and why it can feel so emotional. It's also why it can have so much fear around it. I know that as I have supported hundreds and hundreds of brilliant women in my career doing this work, I can't even tell you how often I hear a question that sounds something like, oh my gosh, Brenda, I don't understand. Like, why is there so much fear around this? Why is there so much fear around messing up, about what if I don't lose weight, about what if I regain weight? And it's because of all of this. It's because diet culture, which is rooted in patriarchy, remember, it's one of patriarchy's tools, has told us for generations that our value is tied to our weight. So of course it's going to feel intense and emotional and like, oh my gosh, what if I fail? And of course it's going to feel like all these big emotions, including fear and inadequacy. But I want you to really hear me on this. We didn't choose this and we didn't create it, but we've been essentially like swimming in it, living in it, existing in it, and doing our very best, I really believe that, to function in it. But it's really embedded in our society at large, really, for the most part. And so this is what most weight loss approaches, they don't even touch the subject with a 10-foot pole. We don't even address it. It's like the white elephant in the room, but really it's more like the transparent elephant in the room because it doesn't even get looked at or acknowledged. Like really, literally no one, most people, I will say most, are not even really seeing that it's here because like I said, we've been swimming in it. It's embedded in our society. In fact, literally me, I'm raising my hand over here. This was me. I didn't know. I didn't have this awareness. I didn't have this knowledge or this empowerment, which is why I am literally so gung-ho on this mission to share all of this with women around the world so that you can be empowered, which is why at the top of the episode, I said, hey, please, this will mean the world to me. Go and leave us a 5-star review. Please share the podcast. You can share the podcast in general or share specific episodes that have been really, really so powerful for you. Please share, share, share. Let's get this work, this information into the hands of so many women worldwide because it is needed. And so this conversation isn't about blaming or bashing. Like that's, at least in my opinion, that isn't the most productive use of the energy or why we're even creating this awareness. This conversation is about naming the systems. In this case, we're talking patriarchy, we're talking diet culture, which is rooted in patriarchy, and diet culture being one of patriarchy's most effective, powerful tools. It's about naming the systems. It's about naming it, calling it out. Hey, this shit is creating problems. Hey, this system right here, this is the one that taught us to struggle in the first place. This is what's creating so much stuckness so that we can finally stop blaming ourselves as if this is a personal, individual, quote unquote, flaw that you have, why any of this feels like an issue. And I promise you, you have so much power as an individual, but it is empowering to see like, oh, there's this whole system here. There's this whole system. We can call it out, see it, name it, step outside of it and be like, nah, I'm not playing that game anymore. Because when we see the full picture, then we get to choose something different. And so let's keep getting super clear here. Let's keep connecting dots. So what does this actually mean in real life? What does it look like? What does feminist weight loss look like? And I think I'm already connecting dots for why does it matter, but let's also really name that in a very clear way. Especially if for you, it's really important to lose weight and also be free from the struggle. Like you want both of those things. You want both of those things. Yes, you have a goal and also you want to be free from the struggle. So let's connect those dots even more. Feminist weight loss happens on your terms. Let's have that be very clear. It's when you, as an individual, define what's right for your body, your desires, your vision, your priorities, your goals. And it's not about shrinking to be accepted. It's about you choosing to evolve, to change, to transform, to move towards something, a vision. That's what you want. And it's also, let's name this because this is also significant. Yes, we can choose to evolve and change and transform. We can also choose to stay the same from a place of self-honoring, of self-love, of knowing you are the authority. Remember, you are the authority of your body. That's feminism. It's really approaching your goals from I get to want what I want for my body. And that's not anti-feminist, specifically when we're talking about weight loss. That is me being sovereign. And when you're making decisions and creating change from sovereignty and from knowing that, hey, I get to want what I want for my body, whether that is change or an evolution and growth or staying the same. It doesn't feel like obsessing. So it doesn't look like obsessing. Instead, creating your own standards. It doesn't feel like or look like outsourcing your worth, which feels never ending and so conditional, which even me describing, it's like, oh my gosh, that sounds exhausting. But instead, it's when your decision-making is rooted, deeply, deeply rooted in your vision and you feeling good. It's very connected with your own wisdom and it's very connected with your own body. And I also want to offer this when I think about, just in general, this idea of feminism. I'm just thinking about this right now of like you as a woman being powerful and taking up space in rooms, speaking, having an opinion, putting yourself first or as a priority, being a leader, a decision maker. I just want to offer right now for anyone who might need to hear this, that includes on your own damn plate. That includes what is on your own plate and what you choose for your own body. So the old way, quote unquote, which is through the lens of patriarchy, is never enough, and it's so conditional. The new lens I'm offering, which is a feminist weight loss approach, which is a game changer because actually we're tapping out of the old game. It's not about proving you're good enough. It's about you choosing what feels good and right and best for you, period, full stop, no apologies. You are sovereign. You are the authority of your body. That's feminist weight loss. And so why does this matter? I mean, obviously, I've been threading this in all throughout this episode. I'm talking about why it matters all throughout, how it's mattered in my own journey, how I've seen it matter and completely be revolutionary as I've supported now hundreds and hundreds of women in their own meaningful, healing weight loss transformations. Here's why this matters. It matters because if your weight loss journey is rooted in patriarchy, you will always feel behind. It always feels like it's never enough, like you're never enough, like your body is not enough. And that's not freedom. That right there is control, oppression, dressed up as quote unquote wellness. Feminist weight loss matters because it unhooks your transformation. It unhooks your weight loss. It unhooks your personal goals. It unhooks the changes you want for your body, your habits, how you feed yourself, etc. It unhooks any of that from systems. Today, we're focusing most on patriarchy and diet culture. It unhooks what you want from systems that were never built for your liberation, for your freedom, for your joy, for you being in the world the fullest, most powerful version of you. And when you unhook from those systems, step outside of them, you don't just lose weight, you lose the struggle. And you get to have both freedom and results. You get to have both power and nurturing and loving, that softness towards you, towards how you want to treat your body, care for yourself. You get to have both joy and evolution and change and transformation, if that is what you want. So here's my invitation for you. If you have ever felt like when it comes to weight loss, it feels like a choice you have to make. I either love myself or I lose weight. Oh my gosh, you can breathe a sigh of relief. You don't have to choose. This is your permission slip. There is a different way. Feminist weight loss is an option. We just laid it out. It is an option and it is revolutionary. And if you want, it can be your new approach and your new lens. And I can like feel it. My heart is just smiling right now, thinking about this episode and this information dropping into the hands of women worldwide so that you can feel powerful and you can really have this relationship with your body that is honestly, it can really be, this is going to sound corny, but I'm just going to say it, quite magical. There's so much wisdom, and the shift you experience when we transform and change the lens it's so much more. It goes beyond weight loss, but weight loss can also be a part of it. And this is what's available. And so I am just giddy. My heart is just like smiling over here thinking about this episode, getting into the hands and ears of women worldwide. And this is the work that I'm doing this summer with my clients. You can join us inside of the Last 10. That is my signature 6-month coaching program where you have my support on your own journey because you don't have to do this alone. You can have support, which what a beautiful gift to really gift yourself support to transform an area of your life that if it's been a struggle, it doesn't have to continue to be. And so if you've loved what I have unpacked today, you're like, oh my gosh, yes, Brenda, this is what I have been looking for and wanting. And oh my gosh, the more that I hear you talk about this is what I need. This is what I want. This is what I've been searching for. I want to invite you to come and join me inside of my coaching program, The Last 10. As I mentioned, it's my signature 6-month coaching program where you get to work with me directly supporting you in your journey. And right now, this summer, we are powerfully creating transformation. We've kicked off something very special this summer. I'm calling it the Summer of Freedom. And so this summer, the Summer of Freedom, if you want to lose weight and heal, if that's important for you to lose weight and heal as well, that's what the summer is all about. Inside of the Last 10, I want you to imagine losing weight, losing the weight you want, and also breaking free from old habits, sabotaging patterns, emotional eating patterns, stress eating, sabotage cycles, weight that doesn't feel good on your body, outdated beliefs about who you're allowed to be or what you're allowed to experience. Hear how all of it is about freedom. And then weight loss happens as the byproduct. This is feminist weight loss. So come and join me, come and join us. It is a brilliant community of women, the last 10. It's a community of women who really want something different for themselves. It's not only the result of weight loss, but as the podcast cover says, we're redefining weight loss for women who want results and healing. And in fact, I'm glad that I just mentioned the podcast cover. I meant to talk about this at the very top of the episode. You may have noticed that earlier this year, we updated the podcast cover. And so here's some of what we added on the podcast cover. We added at the very top of the cover art, it says, a podcast redefining weight loss for women who want results and healing. And so that healing is key. It's how and why we are doing this different. That's the line that we added at the very top of the podcast art, the podcast cover. And then we also added 5 words at the very bottom. It says empowered, period, feminist, period, decolonized, period, anti-racist, and then holistic. As you know, last week, I unpacked and really defined empowered weight loss, what that means, what that looks like, and why it matters, especially if you want both results and healing. This week, I've just gone through and really defined and outlined and explained what feminist weight loss is and means, what it looks like, why it matters. And in the upcoming weeks, I'm also going to be talking about decolonized weight loss, anti-racist weight loss, and holistic weight loss. So thank you for joining me today. What we unpacked together today is revolutionary. Revolutionary. I'm honored to be able to share this with you. I'm thrilled about how healing this is going to be and what a support and how empowering it is going to be for women all around the world from all walks of life. And I'm excited for the episodes coming up where we'll unpack what the rest of all of this means and why it matters. But like I said, if you want to really integrate and apply all of this and you want to do it with support, because remember, you don't have to do this alone, come and join me. I'd be honored to support you on your journey because it matters. This matters. You matter. I cannot wait to meet you. Go to brendalamelli.com. You get instant access when you join as soon as you complete your payment. So don't wait another day. If this is something you've been wanting to do, go and do that. And I will see you very soon.